Me, Donna Neal.
Thank you, Madam Postmaster. This morning, I'd like to reintroduce the club to my friend, Minnie. Minnie is the young woman with the holiday sweater on. She was 98 years old, with that mistake. And my wife, Carol. The couch she's sitting on is the only piece of furniture Minnie owned. It was her couch, it was her bed, it was her chair. No pictures on the wall. Minnie didn't own anything that she didn't have to own. She lived in Greensboro. My wife and I met her because she was a neighbor to my mother-in-law. Several times my wife and I tried to buy things for Minnie, and she always said no. One time we wanted to buy her a toaster because she was heating up bread in the oven. And Minnie said, I don't want it. I said, they're very inexpensive. She said, it's not the price. She said, everything that you own owns you too. I never forgot that. But Minnie said, there's one thing you could do for me. She said, if you could take me to run errands about once every 2 months, things that I can't do by mail or by phone, that's all I need. Well, I was happy to do that. So there was one particular Wednesday I'd like to share with you. I arrived at her apartment 9 a.m. She had the coffee already made, and her tradition was to put a spoon of ice cream into each cup of coffee. The flavor of the mug was strawberry, so I had strawberry in my coffee, and it wasn't that bad. It kind of weird. When I showed up that morning, Minnie opened the door, and she said, "You're here to help me. How lucky am I?" And that was Minnie's favorite expression. Well, that Wednesday, we left her apartment about 9:30. First stop was the bank. Minnie had to have her will redone, updated. She had to have it notarized. That didn't take long. We got back out of the car. Minnie said, "My grandkids are going to be happy." That's all she said. Stop number 2 was the dentist. She went to the dentist once a year for a checkup. They took images of her teeth and gums, and then we were in the dentist's office. He was looking at Minnie's teeth on the screen. Minnie was sitting looking over his shoulder. I was behind Minnie. And the dentist said, "Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh." He said, "Minnie, you're not doing a good enough job taking care of your teeth." Minnie said, "Doctor, I'm 98 years old." And he said, "It doesn't matter. Your teeth should last as long as you do." Well, Minnie didn't like that. I could see her fists clench up. And soon she said, "Doctor, how old are you?" He said, "I'm 43. Why?" Minnie said, "I noticed you're losing your hair in back. Shouldn't your hair last as long as you do?" And the doctor said, "Okay, Minnie, I understand. I won't say that anymore." We left the dentist office. The third stop was the Social Security office. Minnie had received a letter. She showed it to me. The letter asked her to come to the office and explain how her name was changed. So right away, we ended up in an office. I was with her. And the Social Security person said, "Minnie, you changed your name at some point in your life. Minnie's not your birth name. How did that happen?" Minnie said, "Well, when I started first grade, the teacher read off our names. She said, Winona Macchione." And I raised my hand and I said, "Teacher, that's wrong. My name's Minnie." Well, the computer hadn't been invented. So the teacher marked out Winona and printed in Minnie. And that became her name. Her parents found out a few weeks later when they attended parent-teacher night. And they were okay with it. It didn't really matter to them. But then Minnie said, why are you asking this question? And the man said, well, because of 9/11, anytime someone changes their name, it is not done legally, we have to have an explanation. And Minnie said, let me ask you a question, young man. He said, sure. And she said, I'm 98 years old. If I was going to be a terrorist, don't you think I would have done something before now? He said, well, of course, I'm sorry you had to go through this. She said, that's okay. That's all the air that she had that Wednesday. The next stop was lunch at Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel was the only place Minnie would go for lunch. She sat down, it was crowded, and we were in the middle of the dining room. Minnie ordered her, well, the meal she always ordered, chicken fried chicken, mashed potatoes with brown gravy and corn, and sweet tea. She arranged her utensils, her plate. When the meal came, Minnie picked up the knife and fork. And then suddenly, and very unexpectedly, she slammed them both down on the table. And Minnie looked at me and she said, you took me to lunch. How lucky am I? So that was Minnie. Nobody ever practiced true gratefulness like Minnie did. Minnie lived to be 3 months short of 100. She never spent a day in a nursing home, never saw a physical therapist, never took a vitamin, and she was on no medications that I was aware of. And when she died, I thought, this was the most grateful person I'll ever meet. And I think that's true. Minnie was a good friend. And I'm so lucky that I have this group to tell this story to. And as Minnie would say, how lucky am I?